Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in 18th chapter, we are coming to the conclusion of the Gita. And as I have related to you already, that we will begin the Gita again. Verse number 71. Shraddhavan anasuyascha shuniyadapi yo nara sopi muktah shubhan lokan praptuyat punya karmanam. Those who are endowed with faith and are free from jealousy, they will, upon hearing this dialogue, become free of sins and will attain the higher worlds that are attained by persons of righteous deeds. The literal meaning. In the previous verses, it has been pointed out, who is not qualified for listening to the scriptures. And then, who is qualified for teaching the scriptures? Now, who is qualified? Who is the qualified sadhaks who can listen to the scriptures? Not qualified, this is qualified. Focusing on those qualities will allow you to listen to the teachings and assimilate them. And you must realize all the three is each of you. That you have to figure out gradually. Those who are endowed with faith, faith is the foundation of spiritual movement. First point to understand that all living beings, they begin their life movement on the basis of something abstract. And we call it faith. Simple point to understand that it is inherent in every soul. Realize, who am I? It's inherent in every reflected sun in a jar of water. To realize the truth, sun alone is. And this expresses in human beings as faith. But if mind is not purified enough, then faith takes three forms. The worst type, the lowest type is tamasic faith that Gita has described in previous chapters. Those who worship their own hate and anger. Not so directly, kind of. Those who worship ghosts, pishachas, vampires. We read in the scriptures and all descriptions are there. And there are mantras also to invoke them. So they do all their austerity so that they gain psychic power and see their enemy crushed. So all through this invocation, what you are holding on to is your hatred. And hatred is a nasty skunk. to have in your heart. So, in brief, you are worshipping your own hatred. Hatred has become your deity. Hatred, anger, and all negative impurities. That's called tamasic faith. The Rajasic faith, Gita describes, one worships yakshas and rakshasas. To give you simple understanding, if you are protecting your money, there are two ways to protect it. Put it in your bank that flows in your day-to-day expenses. That's called yakshas. Or put it, what do you call it, in such a way that it grows. Capital gain, investment. That's rakshasas. Yakshas and rakshasas, originally they were very sacred words. They are the attendants of Varuna, rather Kubera, the lord of treasure. They work under him, yakshas and rakshasas. One type goes on protecting your wealth as it is. Another one is interested in multiplying it, enhancing it. And the mind that is working with that type of understanding, even in relation to your sadhana, you have the same mental attitude. What can I do that the mantra that I have done becomes 100 times without your increasing your japa? Or at least it should give you the benefit as it is. Current expenses. When your mind is in with that type of setting, that mind is distracted. And shraddha in you is not in a healthy state. Faith is not healthy. All your faith is how to procure wealth, power, even spiritual. If you hear about virtues, how to grab many virtues and how to see that they grow. If you read the stories of great demons, they have worked very hard to gain many virtues. See, Ravana sacrificed head after head to please Shiva. And whatever he gained was a result of his worship. But I have also explained to you the allegorical meaning. The negative in you continues to stay in spite of so many situations that would have freed you of that negativity. The world gives temptations for both sides. It gives temptation for the demons who are practicing austerity for demoniac purpose. Those temptations that, I'm speaking allegorical language, those opportunities that come for them to move away from being demoniac. Similarly, those who are not demoniac, they are doing something sattvic. They get their opportunities as well as temptations, both sides. Coming to sattvic faith, that's a healthy faith. Sattvic faith allows your mind to worship God. And worshipping God has its many stages. First stage, your God in you is not, you have not understood God is the absolute one God. Your mind has several aspects of God. When you need money, God is Lakshmi. Want to pass examination, God is Saraswati. You remove an obstacle, oh Lord Hanuman. Nothing wrong with it. But that's the stage of mind. As sattva goes on growing, mind becomes focused on the God, the absolute. And the soul develops aspiration for attaining liberation. Also, I have explained to you before, shraddha word, shat plus dha. Shat is truth. Your intellect, as it gains purity, it reflects the truth with greater clarity. Every pot is holding the sun. But where the water is pure, this reflected sun has greater clarity. That's the description of shraddha. Shraddha is that type of mental state that it doesn't wait for itself to become absolutely purified, but it has the capacity to reflect the truth. And that becomes a powerful source for sadhana. If that is not there, then you can gain lots of intellectual knowledge. But lacking faith, all that knowledge will be the knowledge of the 10 heads of the Ravana. Lots of palabras. Shraddhavad anasuya. Next point that this verse refers to, anasuya. Asuya means jealousy. Anasuya, absence of jealousy. This relates to what we call upalakshana. Only one vice is being pointed out, which covers all vices. So if you are the third class student of Gita, and you say, oh, only jealousy, that's all right. I will control the jealousy. But conceit, pride, hypocrisy, all that allowed. Not so. All negative qualities. Jealousy, speaking in a very ordinary way, is finger pointing. Always your mind simply looks at things externally and makes up its own view. That person walks like a cat. I never walk like that. But how is it that person is receiving more attention and more money, more success, and I'm not? That's called jealousy. Constantly comparing, finger pointing. When you finger point, 3 fingers point to you. God has tricked. But you don't care for the 3 fingers pointing to you. But you care for the 1 finger that is going out. That's called asuya. When you start caring for the 3 fingers pointing to you, that's called anasuya. So if you have shraddha and anasuya, you are the best listener. Mind, try to understand the scriptures, satsanga, people come. And also what I'm saying is higher truths of life are said very quickly. realizing takes its own course. Let me dramatize this point. People go through many problems. Then there comes a time when they begin to listen, satsanga works wonders. Now the mind creates its own imagery, own imagination that I will go to satsanga and that satsanga will cure my father's sickness. I'm just joking, but there are many things. Everyone has many problems. Problem of the body, problem of the surroundings, problem of so many things. And the idea, if I go to satsanga, this problem will be resolved. There's no harm in that. Every little step you take, no matter how erroneous, without having proper understanding, but every step that you are taking will have its meaning if you continue to be in satsanga. Then illusions will move away. But in the early stage, that concept doesn't allow you to listen to the deeper meaning of the scriptures. Deeper meaning, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. God alone is real, the whole world is mithya. All your experiences are like dreams. And realization is like waking up. That, you can't hear that. You don't have to give up everything. Just it seems like a big volcanic eruption coming out of the scriptures. But when you have healthy understanding, it simply means living with profound health. Profound health, you are like you are the sun. Practical stage, all the reflected suns are you in different. The same sun is appearing in countless suns. And that attitude towards human beings, I am divine, it shouldn't be limited to yourself. All are divine. Namaskar. So, if one is endowed with shraddha, faith, and anasuya, absence of jealousy, and thereby the Gita is pointing out to what we call Daivi Sampat, divine qualities, abhayam, sattva sanshuddhi, fearlessness, purity of heart, and many others. I'm not taking up that topic at this time. So, what will be the fruit of listening? Sopi muktah shubhan lokat. Such a person will become free of sins, malas, gross impurities, free of creating negative karmas, and will attain the higher worlds. Higher worlds, if you are, always the scripture gives a revelation, but different minds have different meanings. If you are virtuous, because your mind is thinking about having increasing prosperity, more fame, name, glory, you are also given the understanding that there is not only human plane, there are souls as Gandharvas, as Kinnaras, as Devas. So you will have that type of ability to move away from limited experience of prosperity to a higher level of prosperity. Let me remind you of Taittiriya Upanishad, where it described all human happiness. If a person is very healthy and he is complete control over this whole earth, no one speaks against him. Consider that as one unit of joy, ananda. 100 units of that is normal in another level. 100 times of that is normal in another level. But nothing of this compares with liberation. Liberation equals each and goes far beyond. So that's what, referring to Shubhan Lokan, they attain these higher worlds. For more mature aspirants, you follow the Krama Mukti movement. Agdir Jyotiha Shukla. You develop Vairagya, fire comes. Jyoti, light comes. Vivek, your daily life becomes a form of worship of God. This opens up your heart like the bright half of the month. The moon goes on waxing. That's always a poetic description. Your bhavana, feeling. That's always, your heart is in darkness of moha, delusion. Now, something happens. Moon emerges and goes on waxing. That's what bhavana should be. All this, you are getting higher lokas. No longer loco. And then you enter into expansion of consciousness called samadhi, described as the northern path of the sun. In other words, the daylight goes on increasing. That's a poetic way of saying. Your consciousness goes on expanding. It goes beyond your mind, intellect, etc. Until you become, the soul becomes the sun. Discovers, I am the sun. I am Brahman. This whole process, that's the spiritual movement, the path of enlightenment. And developing goodness in you and good righteousness is meant to lead you on this path of Uttarayana, culminating in liberation. Kacchidetat srutam partha tvayam kagrena chetasa kachchidajnana sammoha pranastaste dhananjaya. O Arjuna, have you listened to my teachings with one-pointed mind? O conqueror of wealth, is your illusion born of ignorance destroyed? Turn your attention to understanding mind. Mind has first stage called mood, dull-wit mind. Dull-wit mind will not be benefited. Listening, whatever you listen, it's like a light gets refracted. Whatever you listen, your mind refracts it. Simple illustration. Satsanga, I learned, I am God. All these are useless creatures. Same teaching, all is God, becomes refracted. The light becomes refracted, distorted. Mudha buddhi. Next one is called vikshipta. The other chipta, just distracted. Next one called vikshipta, partially distracted. Partially distracted means general masses seem to be very courteous and very cultured. But there is always a limitation. There are times when you lose their temper. That's called vikshipta state. Ekagrata, mind has come to a healthy state of real interest in your spiritual movement. Now, listening becomes more and more profound, effective. So that's what Lord. And after this comes Nirodha state, when you completely conquer the mind. So, have you listened to my teachings with one pointed mind, with ekagrata state of mind? Arjuna has various names, and I will just point out to you. In Mahabharata, in one occasion, the son of Virat, Uttar, suddenly discovers that Arjuna tells him, I am Arjuna, I'm not going to lead you in that story. And he wanted to know what. Do you know the 10 names? It's the old style identity. Checking the identity. If you know the 10 names of Arjuna, then you are Arjuna. So tell me. Arjuna, that's well known Arjuna. Arjuna means Arjava. Arjava means straightforwardness. Straightforward means your thinking, speaking, and acting. They are all in tune. Not thinking one way, speaking another way, acting another way. Then you lack Arjava state. You become a mantra with hunch. You go after your hunches, not after the teachings. So that's what Arjuna, Arjava. Next name of his is called Phalguna. Phalguna is the beginning of northern path, beginning of the spring season. One who is following that path of light. Next name of his is called Jishnu. The meaning behind the Sanskrit word Jishnu is one who is never defeated in his battle. Life is always a battle. But if you have that Arjuna spirit, you are bound to win. Light is bound to win over darkness. It cannot be defeated. But negativity, falsehood, may seem to win for a while, but it is bound to be defeated. So that point has to be understood. That's Arjuna movement. Never defeated. And therefore, you express increasing patience and firmness in your movement. Next name is called Kiriti. In storyline, heavenly father of Arjuna, Indra, placed on him a crown, rewarding him for his great actions, great activities against demoniac forces. It simply means that you attain the crowning glory of divine virtues. It is also known as Shvetavahan. Shvet means white, snowy white. Vahan are the horses. His horses are pure. If senses are under the control of your mind, and mind follows the dictates of pure intellect, those horses don't look awkward, ugly, they look wonderful. the snowy white shimmering. Another name of him is called Vibhatsu. He who would never fight for the sake of adharma, for the sake of unrighteousness. He will not take part with those who are following a negative pursuit, negative path. And the last name is called Vijay, victory. I might have left out one name, Sabya. Another name is, he can operate without difficulty with both hands. He's not right-handed, left-handed, he's both-handed. Can take it literally as well as, but literally is the real meaning is you handle adversity and prosperity. Adversity allows you to grow. Prosperity allows you to grow. Both ways you are benefited. How can that be possible? Just give you a simple illustration. Children, as they are growing, they need both. When they begin to walk, they must tremble. And this trembling movement enables them to muscle up, control their bones. Others also help them. See, not a single child has ever been born except in the Puranas. A child that doesn't fall, doesn't walk on four, doesn't crawl. All this implies the child faces both joy of motherly love and a challenge to conquer the weaknesses. Both have to be there in your life. So that's the reality of life. That doesn't mean that you should ask God, oh God, give me adversity. Unless you are Kunti. Kunti offered prayers to God. Oh God, give me adversity, adversity. That type of adversity that makes me communicate with you. So that I may say goodbye to the world forever. Apunar bhava darshanam. May I never look towards the world that keeps the soul constantly moving in the cycle of birth and death. That's a horrible sight. Haribo. Arjuna uvacha. Nashto moha smritir labdva tattvasadat mayanchuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna said, O Achyuta. Achyuta means Lord who never shakes, never falls from his status. Invincible, infallible, immutable. O Lord, my delusion is gone. I have regained the memory. What's the memory if you regain? It has three aspects. Deha buddhyatu dasoham. When you turn your attention to the body-mind complex, then you realize all this is not handled by ego. Ego cannot handle anything. Ego is the most stupid entity. So the entire body identity is handled by God. Every bit of it. every cell, every little nail, every little hair, and so forth. All is handled by divine hand. So you are just a little toy in the hand of God. Deha buddhya tu dasoham. Jiva buddhya tvadanshaka. From the point of view of the soul, I am a ray, you are the sun. Having the possibility of shining like you more and more, and grow in the image of God. And from the deepest core of my personality, I am you. Aham Brahmasmi. When that type of insight begins to operate within, then you are recovering your memory. But as long as looking for your identity in the terms of who was your father, who was your grandfather, and go into more technical details and try to learn about the story of your great-great-grandfather and how your line has come on through many interaction with so many international countries. I'm joking. That type of memory is not real memory. All that may have practical reality, but that's not real. So by your grace, I have discovered my memory. Gata sandeha, I have become free of all doubts. Let me reiterate the point. There are three doubting states. First is called Sanjaya. There are two choices and you are unable to make your choice between the two. Go on moving this way, that way, this way. Two boats are there, one foot goes there, one foot goes. Called Dvividha, Sanskrit word. The mind working in two ways. So neither you are going this way nor that way. One foot toward the east, one foot to the west. That's called Sanshaya Bhavana. It is removed by listening. Asambhavana. An inner conviction within you that all this is good, but I cannot realize in this birth. Because all the negative I know, God doesn't know them. I'm joking, but the idea is you evaluate your own progress. And that's removed by manana, deep reflection. And third one is called viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana is perverted vision. It's a kind of a vision that your mind doesn't get to it. Say, for example, you are facing a mirror. Someone says, "What are you seeing?" "Oh, I'm looking at my nose." I'm joking. The reality is you are looking at the mirror, not looking at your nose. But the mirror eludes your grasp. What is right before you, you don't see it. And you can't even imagine it. But what is reflected, that's what you are aware of. All you experience are reflections in consciousness. Pure awareness. But not aware of that awareness. That could be parita bhava. when you are led to profound state of meditation and samadhi, then all these reflections become illusory. And you begin to have the revelation. All that is reflecting is in awareness. Awareness alone is. Put another way, all reflected suns are nothing but the sun. That's called viparit buddhi is removed. Ityaham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmana samvadamimam shausham adbhutam romaharshanam. Sanjaya said, thus have I heard the wondrous dialogue between the divine Vasudeva and the high-souled Arjuna, which causes my hair to stand on end. That's a simple sample of ecstasy. Bhava samadhi. That's a healthy and a joyous experience that people lack. You may hear so many stories and suspense and all that, but they don't touch your heart. But certain things happen in your life, acts of your charity, your generosity. You have removed somebody's pain and sorrow, brought great delight. It causes a thrill in your body, a kind of effervescence that has profound effect, healthy effect on your mind and body. But where do you find that medicine? Medical science doesn't have extracts of that. Vyasa prasadat shrutovan etad guhyat maham param yogam yogeshwarat krishnant sakshat kathayah swayam. By the grace of sage Vyasa, I have heard the supremely secret yoga given by Lord Krishna, the Lord of Yoga himself. Rajan sansmritya samadham idam adbhutam keshavarjunayoha punyam hrishyami cha muhurmuhu. O king, remembering again and again the wondrous and purifying dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, I experience repeatedly the thrill of joy. What's highlighted, remembering again and again. The teaching has to be, you have to study again and again, called swadhyaya. And bring to your mind again and again, called samaran. Another word is chintan, chewing the cud. Tasya sansmritya rupamat yadbhutam hare vishmayo me mahan rajan rishyami cha punah punah. O king, recalling again and again the supremely wondrous form of Lord Hari, the insight into Virat, the entire universe is expression of God. Great is my astonishment, and I thrill with joy again and again as this state of understanding dawns. Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani, the entire world is filled with Sita and Ram. The entire world is filled with God. From morning till night, Jyoti Kalash Chalke, a mystic jar filled with light, which is spilling constantly, spilling over all. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvani tirmatir mama. 78th verse. Wherever there is Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, and wherever there is Arjuna, the wielder of the bow, simple understanding, if you are following the path of dharma, then God and soul as if coming together. Soul with the sole purpose of attaining enlightenment. That's Partha, Arjuna. One-pointed wielder of the bow. And God becomes the target. God is the goal. In other words, led by dharma, there is a revelation. Soul and God are one and the same. If that is happening, then you have attained real victory. What have you attained? That is described. You have attained prosperity, victory, glory, and resolute righteous conduct. But prosperity relates to Daivi Sampat, divine qualities. Victory, I have already described. Led by intuitional knowledge, ignorance is destroyed. You are not going to go back to the world again. Glory, you have absolute fulfillment. Everything of this world becomes little. You are the sun. As sun, you can't be fascinated by glowworms. Then that's called glory. Firm resolve to follow righteous conduct. This point is the highlight of the Gita. That's how it ends. With all this, never develop in your mind that since I have become so qualified, attained liberation, I can do whatever I want, unrestricted. So to figure it out. First point, if you have attained enlightenment, it will be impossible for you to do anything against dharma. It will become your very nature. Second point, that when you hear that sages go beyond all karmas and all the prohibitions given by the scriptures don't apply to them, don't mistake it. The statement, it is correct. In practice, sages follow all the commandments in a stricted manner possible without any effort. So if their being effortless has to be understood by you. And you have to use all your effort to follow the path of dharma, the path of virtue, path of righteousness. Never swerve from it. No matter how much you hear about the unreality of you. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishats Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastri Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Mokshanyasa Yogo Nam Astadasho Dhyaya. That's in the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita. The knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the 18th chapter entitled The Yoga of Moksha and Sannyasa. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.